to any public comments. Do we have any public comments? No? Anybody want to say anything? No? Okay, nobody ever takes us up on that. Okay, so we're going to move on to approval of the consent agenda items. They're item number 1 and 2, just for the record, are on there because we misunderstood what a quorum was last month, and we are bringing them back on because there were only 2 of us here, and we couldn't actually vote on these items. So this is just kind of fixing them. Yes.
If I may, Paul Gonzalez, General Counsel and Chief Legal Officer for BPUB. The clarification is items 2 and 3 were addressed last time, and the confusion has been cleared up. It was a legit meeting. Everything was passed, so there's no need to address specifically items 2 and 3. On the consent item, you would be looking at consideration and possible action of approval of the February 5th, 2024 board meeting minutes.
Okay, great. So moving forward with that, do I have a motion to approve?
Move to accept.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Now moving on to individual items for individual consideration. First item is consideration and possible action on approval of the March 11th, 2024 board meeting minutes. All in favor, or anybody want to move?
We have a move to accept it.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 2, the general manager's report. And we're going to have an operational and financial report.
Thank you, Dr. Holman. And at this time, we'll have Mr. Jacob Galvan, who's going to be substituting for Mr. Jose Armando Garza, present on the operational report, followed by Mr. George Rahel.
Howdy, Jacob.
Okay.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. President and members of the board. My name is Jacob Galvan, and I'll be presenting the production and distribution report for the month ending February 29, 2024. So on tab 2 of the board binder, we have the SRWA 2023-2024 water distribution summary and true-up estimate. On column C, we have the SRWA total distribution. The year-to-date is 1,034.734 million gallons with a daily average of 6.807 million gallons. On column F, we have the distribution for BPUB. The year-to-date is 901.143 million gallons with a daily average of 5.929 million gallons. On column G, we have the distribution for Valley Mud number 2. The year-to-date is 24.134 million gallons for a daily average of 0.159 million gallons. On column H, we have the distribution for Los Fresnos. The year-to-date is 85.657 million gallons for a daily average of 5.64 million gallons. On column I have the allocation credit for B&D, and the year-to-date is 21.73 million gallons with a daily average of 0.143 million gallons. On column J, we have the allocation credit for Indian Lake, and the year-to-date is 2.07 million gallons for a daily average of 0.014 million gallons. Below, we have the true-up estimate, where BB, you can see, is under by 60.23 million gallons. Valley Mud number 2 is under by 1.84 million gallons, and the City of Los Fresnos is over by 62.07 million gallons. On the next page, we have water production distribution costs. On the column to the left, we have the total water produced. The total was, for the month was 203.811 million gallons for a daily average of 7.028 million gallons. On the column on the far right, the first column to the right, we have the total water distributed. The total was 202.631 million gallons for a daily average of 6.987 million gallons. Below, we have the chemical consumption for the month, which was at $85,884.35. And below that, we have the electrical consumption, which was at $114,859.73. On the next page, we have events that reduce water production. On February 28th, there was a scheduled shutdown to install a new electrical cable to transfer pump number 1, and that took 4 hours to complete. On this page, we have a graph comparing water production distribution for fiscal year 2023 and 2024. You can see we're trending kind of in the same trending as last year. On the next page, we have a graph comparing water plant production of all 3 water treatment plants for Bronzeville. And you can see SRWA was at 177.814 million gallons. This concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Just a quick mention about the chemicals. Yeah, we have been tracking those along with just water quality tests that we send out. Do we have any updates on those water quality tests? And if so, we don't need to talk about them. Just know that you're going to get an email asking for the data.
Yeah, there is a short slide on one of the presentations that's coming up that shows just kind of where we're at on the optimization, chemical optimization.
Okay, great.
All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. My name is George Hill. I'm the finance manager, and I will be presenting SRWA's financial performance for the month ended February 29th, 2024. So I'm going to go ahead and concentrate on the far right column labeled fiscal year 2024 year to date. Starting off on line item number 3, our total operating revenues through the month of February are at $3,254,824. To that, we go ahead and subtract out line number 10 of total operating expenses of $2,408,175, gives us operating income of $846,649. Moving on to the next page. On line 18, we subtract out our net non-operating revenues of minus $122,339. Gives us a income before capital contributions of $724,310. We did not have any capital contributions through the month of February, so our change in net position remains at $724,310. We add that to the net position at the beginning of the year of $22,764,917, gives us a net position for the end of the period of $23,489,227. And then we do have some supplemental information on the individual O&M accounts if you all have any questions on those.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Renee and how he solved the drought, I believe.
Not yet.
Nobody ever says they got it.
Good afternoon, President, members of the board. I'll be providing a quick drought update in addition to the Water Conservation and Drought Contingency Plan update. Levels, U.S. combined ownership at Amistad and Falcon is at 22.6 as of March 30th. You take a look at the last 4 readings for the month of March. Essentially, there was a little bit of an increase over the last month. slight, but nevertheless, something that we welcome. Quite frankly, in our early projections, we thought we'd be down about 3% in the month of March. So that's a fact that it's maintained is we're happy about that. National Weather Service outlook for April through June, slightly towards warmer than normal temperatures for April through June. Confidence increasing on warm and dry conditions across the watershed. Stage 2 water conservation is likely to continue through spring and perhaps worsening in April and May if we don't receive these rain events. And 100-degree days are likely to increase over the summer. Any questions on the drought update? Okay. I want to provide a quick update on the water conservation and drought contingency plan. You have an item on this a little later. So the plan is mandated by the state. We are to update it every 5 years. We submit this to the Texas Water Development Board, TCEQ, and to a copy to our Region M as well. It's due May 1st. The plan itself consists of both a water conservation section and a drought contingency section. Specifically, the drought contingency plan, we focus on the purpose of that is to limit the demand of water during emergencies such as drought. We want to minimize the impacts of water supply shortages or other emergencies. Specifically for SRWA, we essentially follow the BPUB plan, and it's implemented by the BPUB manager. Authority, SRWA general manager or designee initiates and terminates each of the stages. So this is where we're at with the plan. We want to obtain board approval today, and then and what we've done is with the current plan, we've essentially just done some housekeeping, cleaning up some language throughout the plan, updated utility profiles, provided just a more recent data from SRWA. And so what we'd like to do is receive this board approval. Next step would be to submit it to the Texas Water Development Board, TCQ, before the end of the month. And concurrently, we're going to continue to expand our in-depth review and research of water conservation and contingency measures. So we're going to continue to really look at the triggers, the restrictions, the surcharges, and we're going to do this along with the PUB plan, clearly. Enforcement, one of the things that we're looking at is contingency modeling in the event that there's no water down the river. What could we do with our SRWA facility? So we're going to look at this. We're going to bring some assistance and look at this a little more in depth. And then after that, should there be city ordinance, we're going to work in collaboration with the city. Should there be some city ordinance, some changes, we'll go through that public hearing process and ultimately update both the PUB and the SRWA plans, and then obtain board approvals and submit amended plans as soon as they're available.
Just a quick request actually for Paul. As we go forward with this, we have a regional approach here. And so it's important that we make sure that anything we do, because, it's what PUB has done, which is fine, isn't in conflict with any of the other members of SRWA. So, if Los Fresnos has an ordinance saying, everybody has to use, not that they would, 1,000 gallons of water a day, and we say, oh no, nobody's allowed to use more than a gallon a day. There may be some conflict. So it's just something we should keep an eye on. I don't think we need to do a deep dive, but make sure we all understand.
Yes, sir. So the members here and the absent members as well are going to be subject to the plan. And so this period is going to be a good time for everyone to confirm that it's consistent, right? So there's a little bit of self-checking that needs to happen, and we can assist in that effort to make sure the details are right. Renee may have something to add on that, but that's my understanding of it.
Yeah, that's correct. Absolutely. As we move forward, we'll definitely work with the member entities to ensure we're all on track. Along those lines, we did have a last minute update to one of the appendix. So we'll be updating that before we submit it. And what that is we're updating the Valley Bud plan. It's not in the board packet. There's a more recent drought plan that will be included in the appendix. And in addition to that, the city of Los Fresnos, I understand, is going up to their council probably tomorrow. So should that plan be approved, we'd like to include that as well as part of the appendix. It'll be more up to date.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay, I believe maybe Jacob is coming back from this one.
Hello. So there are several water quality parameters that we monitor throughout the treatment process, and one of them is total dissolved solids. And I have a short presentation explaining what TDS is, how it influences our bypass percentage. And at the end of the presentation, we'll have an update on the chemical optimization. So total dissolved solids is a measure of the combined inorganic and organic materials dissolved in water. TCQ identifies TDS as a drinking water secondary standard with a maximum level of 1,000 milligrams per liter. A high concentration of dissolved solids is usually not a health hazard. High levels of TDS in drinking water may contribute to issues related to aesthetic, cosmetic, and technical effects, such as taste and odor, and potential damage to appliances. High levels of TDS may affect persons who are suffering from kidney and heart diseases, such as patients in dialysis center. So every 3 years, the state will have a private laboratory collect a sample to analyze for TDS. What these labs basically do is pass the sample water to a filter. The filter water is then evaporated and the leftover solids are then weighed. It can take a few days to get these results back. So for daily process control, we use a conversion factor that was given to us by engineering firm Hazen and Sawyer. So basically, when we collect our water samples for the day, we run it through this connectivity meter, and we apply that conversion, right? We divide it by 1.72. Say our connectivity is 1435. If we divide it by 1.72, we'll have 834 milligrams per liter of TDS.
Okay, this is important. Do you guys track your measurements with the lab standards? Like how close are they? How far apart are they?
So we do look at that. So on a monthly basis, we're now sending to our private laboratory to get results, and then we do look over our lab results, and they're close, but they're not like 100% on point. But it's like a ballpark figure, just so we can continue with process control throughout the day, right?
Right. So it would be useful, though, to look at kind of whether on average we are high, low. I remember looking at the numbers and seeing a difference, but just like let's look at our averages over a day, over a month, and compare the where we are within
Sure.
measurements. Thank you.
So back in 2017, Hazen Sawyer conducted a manganese removal study. During this study, they ran a model of the finished water TDS at different bypass percentages. So the bypass stream is well water that goes through the microfiltration system and goes around the RO system. It does not pass through the RO membranes. So you can see that at 5%, and I just want to note that this modeling was done with new membranes. So the membranes, like finished water, was about 80 milligrams per liter. And so our membranes are several years old. So we're not getting that type of production out of them, right? I mean, we get about 250, 300 milligrams per liter of TDS out of our membranes currently. So it's just a ballpark, the figures that you see there, right? Like on 5%, it's showing a 256 milligrams per liter, but it's going to be higher now with these older membranes, right? So like on average, when I see, like if I have 7 ROs at 10% blend, I've seen, 700 at the current state that we're at, right? I'll see maybe 700 to 800 TDS in our finished water. And at 15%, I've seen anywhere from like 800 to 900 TDS, milligrams per liter.
And this is exactly why it's extremely important that we baseline our TDS measurement, calibrate them using data. So, make this a data-driven process, because if we start trying to milk every single gallon out of SRWA, we need to have extreme confidence in our TDS sensors, so that we can report to the public and let people know what to expect, and make sure we stay below this 1,000 milligram per liter standard.
Sounds good. Okay. On the consumer confidence report, they usually use like what the state collected from the private laboratories. So the ones that we run are just, for our process control. But I mean,
Right.
we should still
For
be.
our process control, knowing that those values are the same, or at least pretty darn close. Knowing we can trust our process control is important.
Yeah, you're right. Great. So on the last one, we have a slide on this last slide on the chemical optimization. So on chlorine dioxide, we initially were at 0.8 milligrams per liter, and in the past several months, we've lowered it down to 0.3. And the estimated savings are $5,316. On sodium bisulfite, we initially started at 1.9, and we've lowered that down to 1.7, and the monthly savings are $232, or estimated, right? The ferrochloride dosage was at 2, and we're currently at 1.3 milligrams per liter, and we estimate the savings to be $904. The scale inhibitor, we were at 2, and right now we're at 0.55 milligrams per liter for an average or estimated savings of $9,494. And the monthly estimated savings is $5,946. So that's basically where we're at with the chemical optimization. I don't know if you have any other questions.
That's great. I definitely want to see the new laboratory data, just, to make sure that we understand what's going on and we have a nice idea of what we can continue to extract from this. But that's
Sure.
awesome. Great job.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and I believe this is, walked away. Discussion of the possible addition of a third stage to existing RO trains. Judy's going to be saying, okay.
Hello, President, members of the board. My name is Judy Adams, and I'm the division manager. And Mr. Cowan had asked that we present something on a third stage type of operation to try to recover more water from the concentrate water. So I have just a few slides to go over. I know this is a busy slide, but I want to take you through it on the this is a process diagram of the reverse osmosis system, and it's actually showing 3 stages. So on the far left, you have the first stage, which when feed water goes through the membranes, about 50% of the water goes on the back end of it. And so 50% of the water goes out as permeate water or clean water, and the other 50% goes out as concentrate. So it's concentrating all the minerals that are in the water, and the concentrate water goes into a second stage. When it goes through the second stage, it also goes through, well, let me back up. There's 22 membranes in our train that are first stage. And then in the second stage, there's 11 membranes. So 50% of the water that comes out as concentrate is directed into the second stage to try to recover more of that water from the feed water from the first stage. So what a third stage would look like, and this is on the right side of the picture. You see a little third stage with the pointy. The concentrate from the second stage would then be directed to another membrane, and it could even be like a seawater membrane, because now you're talking about a higher dissolved solids going through as feed water into that third stage. And then from the third stage, the concentrate would be directed out to the outfall, and the permeate would join the other permeate solutions from the prior stages and go into, the storage tank for drinking water. So essentially, you're trying to recover more and more of that water. Any questions on this slide before I go to the next one? Okay. Here, all I've done is kind of show how the total dissolved solids, Jacob was presenting what the total dissolved solids were and, the implications. So our feed water has anywhere from 3,000 to 3,500 milligrams per liter, total dissolved solids or TDS, going into the first stage. And so the second stage receives 7,000 because you've concentrated the salts in that feed water to basically double the amount of salts coming out of the first stage. So same thing, what's coming out of the second stage is now concentrated by 2. And so what's coming out of the stage 2 has a TDS of about 14,000 milligrams per liter TDS. So theoretically, if we took the concentrate from the second stage, ran it through another membrane process, you would concentrate it by doubling it into 2 and have a TDS coming out of that third stage of 28,000 TDS. And I bring that up because we do have a limit that we do need to comply with that's issued from TCQ. The discharge permit is issued for the outfall that goes into the ditch. And currently we have a daily max of 16,708 milligrams per liter as a daily limit. So, I mean, that is an issue as far as TDS, and that's why I wanted to just bring out, what we're doing if we were to do third stage. May not be insurmountable, but it will be a challenge, to try to model that and get the state to allow that higher TDS out the outfall. Still less than seawater desal, which is typically 35,000, right? So I did put together some of the advantages and some of the challenges that may occur with a third stage. Of course, the goal of doing a third stage would be to try to recover more of that water. Currently, SRWA, whatever water is coming into the ROs, we get a 75% recovery because there's those 2 stages, 50% each. And so overall, our recovery of water, drinking water, coming into the RO system is a 75% recovery. And I did read some documents that a plant or two, I think it was a study, I don't even think it was a plant, but they were trying to get up to a 90% recovery with the third stage. So that may be possible. And I don't know, but it could be possible. I've seen up to 90%. So as far as volume wise, what we might be able to gain if we did do something like a third stage would potentially have an additional 1.4 million gallons per day if that's based on a 7 MGD process. Some of the challenges would be, of course, the state would require any kind of modification or third stage to require a feasibility study and pilot demonstration to prove it out that a third stage would work. And then, as I mentioned, TCQ, we would have to look at the limits coming out of the concentrate and being discharged to the receiving stream, and would have to issue a permit amendment, or we'd have to figure out what those limits would be. And of course, it would require additional capital cost and O&M cost. Some kind of anti-scalant would have to be injected, or acid, to try to keep that the salts from scaling to the reverse osmosis process. And this is my last slide, and I just want to mention that this is just looking at a third stage. There may be other methods that we could implement to try to recover more. I just don't know a whole lot about improving the recovery, but that was an option that we had discussed. So if you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer them.
What did you say was the discharge coming from the agency we have now?
Our TCQ permit is the daily average, the 30-day average is 16,708. That's our daily. We have a 1-day max of 35,339 milligrams per liter. So we typically discharge 12 to 14,000 right now with the 2-stage system. Yeah. Good question. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I think we can kick this last item to later, just to wait to see if Ralph shows up, or?
Yes, we did confirm with him last week that he was going to be here, and he also asked us to invite, other individuals. So we did receive confirmation of his. I know he needed somebody to pick him up and drive him, so I'm not sure if transportation was an issue, but I'll leave up to you. If you want to skip to 3 and then come back to E.
That sounds good to me. By the way, I think we have 2 people who've received awards in this audience, and I don't think they've been recognized at all. And maybe Marilyn, this would be a good time to stand up and tell us about these 2 awards really quickly, if you don't mind being put on the spot.
Okay. I'll go ahead and call Marie Liao, and she's one of the ones, the recipients of the award that recently she was recognized in McAllen. So Marie, come on over. We should have played the video that they had. It was an outstanding job that they did over there.
Good afternoon. We celebrate E-Week, Engineers Week, as part of a junction between TSPE, Society of Professional, which is the Texas Society of Professional Engineers, along with ASCE, the American Society of Civil Engineers. And part of the festivities end in a gala, and they give out some awards. Some of them are by a committee, and some of them are voted on by our peers. And one of the ones that was done by a committee was I forgot the title.
Honest, because it's a very, Marie was the one, the recipient of the award, and so it's just one of those things. She is the one who is, valley-wide recognition. We're very proud of her. I was there, beautiful event for that. But go ahead.
So it was one for a career. What is it? Trailblazer Award. There you go.
There we
Thank
go.
you. So yes, I received a Women Trailblazer Award. And so it was a great recognition. So I appreciate that.
So congratulations. Sorry, I didn't mention it earlier, but I'd been thinking about that for the last month. Congratulations, and way to, kick butt.
The modest one is over here next to me.
Yeah.
She got the Amelia Earhart STEM Award.
Yeah, so congratulations to both of y'all, and thank you for representing, SRWA, PUB in, the best fashion possible. I'm just going to start a round of applause. Okay, and now that we've put you on the spot, next item is consideration and possible action for approval for water conservation and drought contingency plan and resolution.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. My name is Marie Leal, and I'm the Director of Special Projects and Water Wastewater Engineering and Planning. As presented earlier by Rene Mariscal, the Southmost Regional Water Authority Water Conservation and Drought Contingency Plan has been revised and updated pursuant to the provisions of the Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 288, Water Conservation Plans, Guidelines, and Requirements. As he stated, the Water Conservation Plan contains conservation goals and the specific strategies for attaining these goals that will improve water use efficiency and reduce the long-term water demands. And there's different sections in the plan. Section 2, for example, talks about the water conservation goals. Section 3 describes the water conservation elements. And finally, presented in Section 4 is the actual drought contingency plan. So upon approval, the SRWA board will submit the updated Water Conservation and Drought Contingency Plan to both the Texas Water Development Board, the Texas Commission of Environmental Quality, and also the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council. Any future amendments to the plan will first be approved by the SRWA Board before submitting to these entities. So the recommended action is the SRWA staff recommends approval of the Water Conservation and Drought Contingency Plan and also the resolution stating the adoption of this plan.
Any questions or, no? Okay, so, do we have a motion?
We have a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pass.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our last item, okay, so discussion on date, time and the next board meeting, and then I'll do Ralph's thing.
Okay. So our next meeting, I don't have my calendar right in front of me. One moment. I think we're leaving it on schedule on there. Give me a second. And here we are.
Oh, no more board meetings. Okay, guys.
I did want to add that we are now, we can now meet at SRWA and broadcast the meetings. So if the board so desires, we could meet at SRWA.
Ah, okay. I don't know if anybody has feelings about doing that, maybe once a quarter, like we discussed, or. Okay, yeah, we'll do one once a quarter.
So yes, we had a little bit of challenges in getting all the intercom system upgraded and to make sure that we have the right recording. And so our next meeting with, if you all want, we would be having it on the 13th of May.
I think that'll work right now.
So we'll go ahead and consider posting for at SRWA meeting locations and change of here. During COVID, I believe that this room was bigger and accommodated, and then changes in different happened. So it gave us a time to get those, the boardroom up there, the electronic equipment updated. So,
Sounds good.
all right.
Okay, now before, or our last item, that we have to do is we have to recognize the fact that Mr. Ralph Cowan is retiring and has been on this board for, I'm sure it's on the proclamation, a long time. And so we have this nice proclamation and I get to read it. So this is for Ralph Cowan. This is a proclamation from the Board of Directors of the Southmost Regional Water Authority recognizing and honoring Mr. Ralph Cowan. Whereas the Southmost Regional Water Authority, SRWA, was created in 1981 as a conservation and reclamation district to provide water solutions during the drought or water supply issues for regional partners. And whereas BPUB spearheaded a cost-effective solution to treat brackish groundwater from the Rio Grande alluvium as a diverse source of water that would reduce the dependence on the Rio Grande. And whereas in 2004, a construction of a 7.5 million gallon per day MGD regional brackish groundwater treatment facility was complete. And whereas SRWA regional partners located in southern Cameron County consist of City of Los Fresnos, Indian Lake, Laguna Madre Water District, Valley Municipal Utility District Number 2, Brownsville Navigation District, and the Brownsville Public Utility Board. And whereas Ralph Cowan was appointed by the Brownsville Navigation District, BND, in 2012 to represent BND on the Southmost Regional Water Authority Board, SRWA again, of directors, and whereas Ralph Cowan served for more than a decade on the SRWA Board of Directors, including as secretary, and whereas Ralph Cowan helped raise public awareness and understanding about the importance of diversifying sources of drinking water in South Texas. And whereas Ralph Cowan was instrumental in SRWA's 2015 expansion of operations. And whereas Ralph Cowan oversaw improvements to make SRWA more efficient and able to meet and exceed all of state state and federal drinking water guidelines. And whereas Ralph Callen put the greater need of his community first when making major decisions about the operations of SRWA. And whereas Ralph Callen helped ensure that this region had a reliable secondary source of drinking water in the face of drought or water supply issues. Now, therefore, we, the members of the Southmost Regional Water Authority, by virtue of the authority vested to the board and on behalf of the regional partners and SRWA staff, recognize and honor Ralph Callen for his selflessness and dedicated years of service, done on this, the 8th day of April, 2024. So thank you very much. And even though he's not here, let's have a round of applause for Ralph. And I'm sure you'll see that he gets the proclamation and this nice little award.
And if he does show up after the meeting, we'll take some pictures and we'll do a mini press release, and that includes his information and provide him the plaque and the award that we provided for him. I do want to take this time to also mention that I made a mistake. It was the PUB board meeting on May 13th and it was May 6th for the SRWA board.
Okay, that
We-
sounded more
Yes.
familiar. Yeah, okay. Great. Well, thank you all very much. And I don't know what time it is because we don't display times here. 12 minutes to 1 and the total eclipse or whatever we can see here. So make sure you get out there. Thank you all very much. And this meeting is final. No, I have to, you move to adjourn.
Second.
And so all in favor, say aye. Aye. And the meeting is adjourned.